See, Young Philly is someone who ain't no stranger to the internet. This is a man who done been on the internet for years at this point, and he's been actively building himself this entire career. But not only was he on the YouTube side of the internet, he also went down a pipeline we see many other YouTubers or people on the internet go down. He started making music. He went from YouTuber to musician, and it worked out for him. Bro did decent. He had some songs doing good. He was even doing shows. But during this journey and him building his name for himself, he made a couple of bad decisions. So, like I said, he's a successful content creator, and it was all going good until September 2024. That would be the month that ruined his life. So the story starts out like this. He out in Australia, and remember what I said earlier, he's a musician. So after one of these performances, he heads back to a hotel and allegedly brings a woman with him. They get in the room, and it ain't go to plan. She was accusing him of R. AP News wrote this. Philly is currently touring Australia and was arrested in the East Coast city of Brisbane on Tuesday. A police statement said the Colombia-born entertainer, who has 1.8 million followers on YouTube, was extradited back to Perth on Wednesday. His Australian tour began in Perth and traveled through Melbourne and Sydney before it was scheduled to end in Brisbane. Police allege he assaulted a woman in her 20s in a hotel room after he performed at a nightclub in Perth. His show at Bar One nightclub was promoted by ticket selling platform Mosh Tix. Philly was charged with 4 counts of R, 3 counts of assault causing bodily harm, and 1 count of impeding the woman's normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure to her neck. And that's what the police said. But there was also another article speaking on his charges and his situations. Photos of the woman's injuries allegedly caused by Philly were provided by the prosecution, who said no ordinary person can consent in these circumstances. Across her body is a history of violent acts. We say these photos and what is alleged is beyond the pale, beyond what could be considered to be a act. So this news comes out, right? And the internet is on fire. Every side of the internet is freaking out about the situation. YouTuber, and 2, is surrounded by all of these different content creators. It's probably so many content creators that you watch that had some kind of friendship with this man or are close with him. So when the news came out that Philly allegedly did what he did, everybody was getting looked at sideways, especially the people that Philly was with every day. So after a while, all this news coming out, one of his homeboys, Chucks, will finally come out and give a response after people wondering what he had to say.
Yes, my peoples, like everyone, I've heard the reports coming out of Australia. Whilst I understand many of you want my reaction on it, as this is an ongoing court case, I hope you guys can understand that I can't and won't be commenting on it publicly. So yeah, I've just come on here to basically let you know the reasons as to why I can't. Love. And for a long time, no one surrounding him or Philly himself will really say anything on the situation because it was still actively going on. It was an active case. But when the allegations came out and the news broke, everybody really dipped and pulled away from Philly. All these companies pulled away from him. Content creators in the space no longer supporting him. That man probably lost out on millions of dollars because nothing wanted to be associated with him. A day after the news came out, Football Association that Young Philly had a show with pulled out. The FA announced on Wednesday that it had partnered with Philly for a series named Freestyle Cooking as part of its Greater Game campaign, which aims to promote healthy eating and well-being among young people and their families. After the news broke on Wednesday that Philly was arrested on them specific charges, they removed the show and they removed all promotional content. Basically, they took anything involving Philly off of their YouTube channel, off of all of their pages and websites. Philly got all these charges on him, and it would only be a matter of time before the man would have to go to court. And when he did go to court, they ended up granting him a bond. But this bond was real strict. This is what went down during his court hearing. He was granted bail with strict conditions and a personal undertaking of 1,000 Australian dollars alongside a surety of 100,000 Australian dollars. In a press release, the government of Western Australia said that the investigation is still going on, and SA squad detectives urge anyone with information relating to the matter or any other similar incidents to come forward. So he getting hit with these charges. Then we got squad detectives, SA squad detectives in Australia telling people come up and let us know if y'all have any information on this case. But keep in mind, right now, and even at the time of these articles, they are still allegations. The trial hasn't fully commenced yet. So all of this happened in his life and all of these people pulled away from him based on some allegations. But
The internet already made their mind on the situation and was already looking at Philly sideways, kind of similar to Lil Mosey. If y'all remember, Lil Mosey had that case against him, whole internet was hating him. He was basically blackballed just for him to be found not guilty on the charges they was accusing him of. So who knows? Something similar could happen to Philly, but we don't know for sure. But as the story goes on, it does get worse for him. Fast forward to a few months after he originally got hit with the case, he still didn't say anything on the internet, but while awaiting trial, the man got hit with some reckless driving charges. AP wrote this. Philly appeared briefly in a Perth court charged with speeding at 98 miles per hour in a 62 zone in the Western Australia state capital last month. His lawyer said that he would plead guilty to the reckless driving charge, but that nigga Philly was facing some charges. They said the potential penalties were 9 months in prison, a $6,000 Australian dollar fine, which is $3,700 in US money, and the disqualification from driving for at least 6 months. So think about it. He pushing 100 miles in the 60 zone. They got mad at him. They was about to take away that man's license. And if we looking at it, this is just making himself look a lot worse, especially to a judge. Granted, the shit didn't have nothing to do with the case, but you know how people get to thinking. His whole image is people like, you just gonna keep getting involved with the law. You just keep getting into more trouble. So when that judge looked, she like, what you got going on? But fast forward to just a few weeks ago, we would hear an update on this case because like I said, for months, since September, Philly hasn't said anything about this case. So March 11th comes up, he goes to court and he pleads not guilty to the R charges. So we gotta wait and see how the actual trial turns out. And that trial just so happens to be in 3 months. The trial goes down in June. So we had him plead not guilty. But something else came up right after he pled not guilty, making everything look 10 times worse. A whole new case will come out of the blue just today, and it's going viral all over the internet. But this time it wasn't in Australia. That shit was across the world. It allegedly happened in Spain. So just after he pled not guilty, a new case popped up. And this is how the story allegedly went. Daily Mail wrote this. Philly is now facing fresh accusations after a British tourist accused him of forcing himself onto her at an unnamed Magaluf hotel after he performed in the island resort last summer. The woman told the police the alleged attack happened after she had consensual sex with one of Philly's friends in the hotel room. She claims she then accompanied the man to Philly's room before he allegedly R-worded her when they were left alone together. The woman is understood to have sparked an ongoing Spanish court probe after reporting Philly to the UK police force a few weeks after she returned to Britain following the end of her summer holiday. British authorities contacted the Spanish civil guard, who passed on the details of this allegation to the investigating court in Palma. It was not clear today if she had already been questioned by the judge in charge of the ongoing criminal probe. A well-placed source said the magistrate had contacted authorities in Australia through formal channels so they can try to question Philly under oath on behalf of the Spanish authorities. So that shit crazy, saying that she did something with this boy, turns around, tries to do something with Philly, and he forced himself on her. Now, once again, these are alleged, but as a man to have 2 different R cases put on you, that's kind of insane. We really do gotta wait and see if these allegations are gonna be proved real or not, because this is a bad situation. This is a bad look. And I hate to say it, even if both of these allegations are proved false, the man's whole career, the man's whole image is done for. What are y'all thoughts on this situation? What are y'all thoughts on young Philly? But we done seen online before, like with Lil Mosey's situation, he was proven not guilty. Maybe Philly gets proven not guilty, but with 2 cases on your name, I don't know how that's gonna turn out.